I recently had a conversation with my sister, and she asked me, of all of the things that I've done over the last 10 years for my health, what are the things that I think really actually made a difference? And I started kind of rattling off all of the things as I was thinking back through the time and the moments that I went through in my life. And she said, do you have somewhere that you're putting all of this information? And I want to go over some of those things in this conversation today. And I purposely didn't prepare for this conversation because I realized that in the kind of just informal conversations that I have with people in my life, we really get to the heart of what we want to talk about and the difference that it makes. It's making a difference in each of our lives as we have these conversations. And up until now, a lot of the conversations that I have, a lot of the episodes that I have recorded, I was preparing what I wanted to say, and I'm having the sensation of, did I really get to the heart of what I wanted to communicate across? So this has me think about the differences between information and wisdom. And, throughout time, the way that we have healed, that we have felt well, that we have grown as humans has largely been through wisdom, the wisdom passed down from generations and amongst community members, through conversations, through sharing in rituals, through sharing what we've gone through. I think we live in a time with an extraordinary amount of information and access to information, but how much of that is really also transmitting the wisdom that comes along with that, the human experience of going through these things. We can look at numbers from tests or read a research paper on the mechanics of hair loss or whatever, but what part of that is what someone actually is going through, and also what part of that is what's actually going on in the body. I've been fighting with my Claude AI a lot lately because I'm researching things about the body and different therapies and different ailments, and I'll ask it, what is going on when someone has high cholesterol, for instance, and it'll come back to me with all of these medical terms and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying is actually going on in the body. So I'm really having to train it and push back on the amount of wisdom that it wants to share with me. And that's just, I guess, a word of caution as well of using AI technology these days to help to identify your potential diseases and ailments, etc., is that on the surface it really gives a lot of the time incomplete information. So I'll look through what it's telling me, and then I'll say, okay, what does this mean? What is happening in the body? So I didn't prepare what I wanted to go over in this. The subject is what therapies and things that I've done over the last 10 years have really helped me to heal. I didn't prepare anything for this, and I'm just going to go through kind of my life and look at where I think that something made a difference for me. Okay, so when I think about things that have helped me over the years, I have done a video on acupuncture and biomagnetism. I think back to when I was living in Playa del Carmen, I think like 2019, 2020. And I started going to an acupuncturist, and that really started relieving some of my mainly fatigue and the chronic inflammation that I had in my belly. I could feel things moving in my body, and it also helped a lot with joints. I had very achy joints, and it helped a lot with that. So acupuncture, and I did acupuncture with 3 different people over time. And I would say each of those times did help to keep things moving, get things moving. And they required several sessions, but it was like little by little, I could feel that like things were kind of chipping away. I also think that doing a fast with Elemental Heal, which is by Dr. Ruscio, Ruscio. I think his website is drruscio.com. He really focuses on gut health and gut healing. I did his full protocol with probiotics as well. I remember the probiotics did also help, just like with making me regular and meaning my bowel movements regular, and having me go daily. And I do remember at points stopping them or running out of them and waiting for more to come in, and I would be more stopped up. So probiotics, I think, did help if they're good. They were good quality probiotics that were specifically for the gut. But Elemental Heal, I went 11 days without eating solid food. It's a product that has basically already pre-digested nutrients for your body, and you drink it in water throughout the day. I did not feel hungry. I had so much energy. And when I did go back to eating food afterwards, surely I was having a lot less discomfort. And I think that was really because I gave my body a break from having to digest foods, to take the energy to digest food. And it was able to then heal better by, just getting nutrients through liquid pre-digested nutrients into my intestines and digestive system. So yeah, Elemental Heal definitely helped. More recently, I took peptides by a company, a Mexican company. Mexico is pretty leading in peptides technology, and I'll put a link to this brand below, because I'm not going to do justice to explaining what what the mechanics of it are. But hydrolyzed proteins are what they are. It's not the same. Like if you search on Amazon or something for peptides or hydrolyzed proteins, you're going to find like whey protein and things like that. This is a different thing. That they come in little frascos, like little jars or whatever, and you drink them. I think I did it on an empty stomach, and I did that for 6 months. And the intention there is to regenerate, to send healthy cells to, in my case, specifically my digestive organs, to help regenerate my organs so that they were working more, more fully, more effectively. I think there's a whole world of peptides and stem cells, regenerative sciences that are going to be massively instrumental in healing people, especially of chronic ailments in the near future. It's already happening for sure. And it totally makes sense if our bodies are distressed from the toxins that we take in, the pathogens that are able to live in our systems, from the processed foods and environmental toxins and everything else, then our body, our organs are going to be stressed. So I think those peptides helped. That was kind of a slow burn because I did it for 6 months. But I did see for sure, over time, it getting my digestive system getting better and better, having less inflammation, less discomfort, less fatigue. And I could tell a lot of the time that the fatigue I was having was coming from my digestive system needing to work so hard. That was kind of obvious to me. I think it was just a feeling. Yeah. Juice therapy. I really only did juice therapy for 2 weeks, but I think that really made a difference. I had like my body was getting rid of toxins because I was just nourishing the hell out of it with fruits and vegetables. That was a protocol that I did with a doctor based out of Mexico. And I mean, I made my own juices and everything with organic produce, and it was a lot of work. But I really could tell that I was pushing things out of my body. And I know that that helped because of the amount of energy that I had, and that I didn't have cravings. I didn't feel hungry. I was also eating, but they recommend, they tell you what to eat, and it was like brown rice and cooked veggies, pretty much that. But I didn't feel hungry at all, and I really felt nourished. So that helped a lot. Enemas. Enemas really, the thing with an enema is it goes in and it flushes out your intestines of the sludge and the bugs and the fungi, etc., that you have in your system. And I think, especially because I was doing other things to cleanse, I really needed to swiftly move those toxins out of my body. So doing an enema is a very quick way to do that. When I first, and like, I would get to where I was like, I could feel that I had toxins circling in my body. And it's very quick. I mean, it takes 10 minutes to do an enema. And I'll do an episode on enemas probably tomorrow. And I think that's a really easy first step, like certainly before taking, before doing other more intense, certainly before doing pharmaceuticals or, a lot of the more intense herbal products. And enema is a really good way to get your system moving, and it also works mainly on kind of your first phase, which is the colon. And so, if you go up and up and up, and you're kind of cleaning layers in your body, it's like the colon, and then the intestines, and then the liver, and then you do like parasites and things like that. But I think that's a really good way to get started. And for me, I mean, still now, when I feel like, I'm not going to the bathroom well, I feel heavy, I'll get like kind of, like I can feel it around my midsection, or sometimes it feels like I have kind of toxins going around. A binder is what I'm just now getting more into, of like binding those toxins and pulling them out of my body. But an enema also does that in a very effective way. So enemas and parasite cleanses. I talked about this in the parasite episode. I went full on into parasite cleanses, and it's probably not, I could have been feeding my body more to help push out the parasites first and open my drainage pathways more. But I didn't know. And when each time I've done a parasite cleanse, it has really released clearly pathogens from my body. And I pair that with enemas, and the two together really help to get rid of things in the body. So those are a lot of the things that have been the biggest help. I've taken a lot of supplements over the years, a lot, and spent a lot of money on them and research. And I think for a long time, I think now supplements are helping more, minerals like, magnesium, ferritin, things like that. because I've healed my gut more and because I've been able to get out a lot of the toxins and open up drainage pathways and remove things from my system. So now I am, my body can absorb and use the supplements that I take more easily. But I think for a long time, I just took so many. I mean, like, because that was like an obvious answer because it's mainstream. I took a lot of supplements and I think that they did not do much for my body at all. Maybe they stove off some of the, like kept at bay some of my symptoms a little bit. But if your gut is not in a good place to absorb those things, then you're just gonna pay them out. What else? Bone broth. I've dabbled in bone broth, but I only just in the last, I've been doing it for about 2.5 months. Every day I drink bone broth in the morning and then sometimes in the afternoon. And I think that has really helped to continue to heal my gut and, the intestinal linings, and give my body a lot of the nutrients that it needs, amino acids and things like that. And so that has been just the last 2.5 months or so. And I think, it's something I'm going to keep doing it for probably another month regularly, at least another month of like a cup in the morning. I have the setup now and I know like where to buy the pieces of meat and all that stuff. But I think bone broth really also made a big difference for me. So those are the primary things I would say that really made a big difference for me. I also tried a lot of other stuff, which I'll do another episode on, just to give you some ideas of things that for you to explore. There are other therapies that have made huge differences for other people, and so certainly worth looking into. But when I look at intuitively what I feel like made a big leap, and primarily in my energy levels, it's those things that I just mentioned. I hope that through these episodes to this channel that we get a little bit more to the wisdom of what's happening in our bodies and what it feels like, and the whole experience of going through these different therapies and protocols and discussions we have with doctors and conversations we have with our sisters. I think, again, there's no shortage of information out there, but how that actually operates in real life and in a human body, there's a whole additional texture and color to how that's experienced as a human. So there you go, some of the things that have been most helpful for me over the years. You have some things that you can do a little more research on your own, and here's to being well.